Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I'm going to be sharing part 5 of 6 of my colouring book collection. In this video I am looking at all of the previous artists that I haven't looked at, where maybe I only have 2, 3, 4 books of theirs in my collection, and then in the final part we'll be looking at all of the books where I just have one by that particular artist. So we're going to be starting with one of my favourite artists, Leila Duly. Now, I have all of her books in some capacity apart from the Floribunda year, because that one is an amalgamation of the Flower Year and Floribunda. However, you now can't get the Flower Year. I think it's out of print. So if you do want to get your hands on all of those illustrations, Floribunda year is the way to go. And it looks beautiful. I think it would be really nice to have that book just to do mindless colouring in, maybe watercolour or fine liners. It would be really nice to have extra copies. I apologise for the lighting and if you can hear my creaky chair at points, but nevertheless I hope you enjoyed the video and we're going to get started. So the first thing I'm going to share are my Botanica postcards. Now these were out of print for quite a few years and I didn't manage to get my hands on them in the first published edition of them, and then Leila said she found about 10 and she'd put them back on her website, and I nabbed them as soon as I could because it's something that I've always wanted. And I'd very kindly been given some of these by Joe from 120 Colours, and I'd always been too intimidated to colour them because they were so beautiful. But now I have second copies of some of them, I am more inclined to just give it a go. I have completed one page which I will share with you in a second, but essentially these are quite big postcards. I think they must be about A5 if not bigger. If I just show one as an example, they're on lovely textured card. I'm presuming that watercolour would work really well. I just used pencils actually on these, but there's a variety. But again, I'm not going to show them in too much depth because I don't really think you can buy them anymore. But there's some that are smaller motifs, some that are full page kind of wallpaper motifs, and you get 10 and they are wonderful quality. So the one that I have done, I keep in here, and it's this one. Now I completed this last year. I started it when I was at uni, but I hardly got far at all with it. I think I just did some of these flowers, and I was using Black Widow pencils and fine liner for this. And quite unusual for me to do a yellow background, but I think it really makes everything else pop, and I really enjoyed doing it. And I wasn't too fussed about trying to make things look realistic. I did the blue leaves, and yeah, I wanted to make it look tropical. That was kind of the vibe I was going for. So I've been keeping these just in tracing paper just to keep them a bit more protected. And I have another that I'll be sharing later on in the video, so I'll keep that up there actually. But they are my Botanica postcards. Now moving on to the books, we have my first copy of the Flower Year. Again, I think I have a flip through of this with some sort of percentage completed. I'm pretty sure I got maybe 30–40% through in this book. And I do now have a second copy. I got this many years ago. This was probably 2018, 2017, something like that, definitely before my channel. And I was kind of intimidated to colour in it at the beginning, but then I watched Katrine from Always Colouring and she was doing the Periwinkle and Wren page, and so I did the background for that with some polychromos and then coloured the rest of it with Prismacolor. So that was what got me into the book. And then I coloured in this so much. I took it when we were on holiday in America in 2019, and I coloured many pages. Some of them I'm happy with, others not so much, and I'm looking forward to recreating them. So this one was done with Holbein's and Faber-Castell Classic pencils, and I am trying to, this is a whip currently in my new version which I'll share in a second. This is a Peacock Butterfly, they're one of my favourites. I just think this is such a beautiful book. I love the cover and it's nice and small as well. My January page, like I said, I do have quite a few pages in this done, so we'll go through this fairly quickly. And if you want to hear more about specific pages, I'm sure I have that flip through and I'll try and link it down below. If not, in my completed pages videos, particularly from the summer of 2019, you'll be able to hear quite a lot about some of these pages. These were definitely done when I was away. I think this could have done with a background, but yeah. I love the blue tits, really chuffed with this. I did Holbeins for the blue tits and then Crayola for everything else, I think. My March pages. This was a whip. You can see my book was starting to fall apart here. This is my Periwinkle and Wren, so the first picture that I did. And yeah, I didn't have any stencils at that time for circles, so I was just winging it completely. So my goal at one point, I can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020, but I was trying to do every month picture. Do quite like that one. My Painted Lady. That was with Crayolas. I was actually really impressed with how they worked. And I've since recreated that with Holbeins, and I do think you can tell a difference, but not much. Got my June. I still really love that. Looking forward to doing that again. Really love my butterflies here. My dragonflies actually. And the dog roses. This is a whip. I still have the colours written down if you're interested in my sweet peas. What I used, they were Prismacolors and Holbein. My August page, I'm really not a fan of this. Yeah, not that thrilled. My September. Love the flowers. I was trying to make them look white. Oh my gosh, my apples. I do not like how they turned out, but you know, we can't have every page we do, and I think I struggle with autumnal pictures more anyway. My acorn and the November one. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. Berries aren't my favourite thing to colour. I also just really dislike how I coloured the leaves, leaving the edges all white when I didn't have enough of a background to make them pop. If I'd done a proper background, then I think that would have worked more. My December one. This one I actually do still really like. Especially the holly. In fact, that colour combination I'm pretty sure I still have written down somewhere, and I've used it since. And that's everything in my first copy. You can see how battered it is. I mean, this went all the way to America with me, so yeah, it is definitely well loved. And then my second copy is where I'm really trying to do my best work in it, and because of that I don't colour in it very often. I also got sidelined with her new books that were coming out, and I had some really kind of detailed pages that I was working on. So this is probably all going to be Holbeins in here. This one, which is my whip, which has been a whip for so long. I will come back to it at some point. I really would like to do the Periwinkle and Wren in here again. So this is again the Painted Lady Butterfly now with Holbeins. Definitely done another small motif in here. Yeah, the mistletoe at the back here. I still have that colour combination written down so I can come back to it and do this side, but I needed something quick and easy. I don't think I really had the time to be doing a really big motif at that point. So they are my pages in the flower year. Second copy. Then we have Beautiful Planet. Now this is my first copy. I actually have two because I ordered the book and then I was very kindly sent a copy from the publishers, Skittle Dog. So this is the copy they sent me, and I have the second one, which I'm still not sure really what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll keep it as a mindless book or do a giveaway at some point. I'm not sure. This one I have a long-term whip in, which will be completed at some point. I just haven't. I started this before uni and it was quite a bad decision because I looking back, I was like, would I really have got this done? No. But I do have all the colours written down somewhere, I hope. Do I, or do I have them just scribbled down? Well, I have them scribbled down there, but I'm pretty sure I wrote them down here. Yes, I did. Thank goodness I did. I knew that I would be coming back to this at some point. So they are my colour combinations. It was inspired by Lucy Colourful World. On Instagram, I saw this picture that she did in Secret Garden. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and I wanted to recreate the colour palette on a different page. So this book, you don't get any of the flowers in the back. So you can kind of go to town and do whatever you want. So that is the whip. And then I have 2 completed pages, which I love. We have this one, which was the second one that I completed actually. I'm really proud of both of the pages that I've done in here. My idea for this was to take the colour for the butterfly that I do so often, use it as a starting point and add green. I did a lighter blue for these hydrangeas and I added the pink as well. But a lot of it is based around that starting idea of the purple, yellowy orange and the blue. I just found this so relaxing, and normally, I don't know, normally I wouldn't find colouring that many petals and that many flowers relaxing, but I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that was Polychromos and white gel pen. And then the other page that I've done was this, and I still adore this. I am really proud of it. My idea was to do complementary colours, so red and green, and then I kind of played with that a bit more by doing a reddish pink and the pink instead of full on red. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with this really. I took my time so much with this. It must have taken, I think, like on and off properly for a month. I used a lot of fine liners, so I'm not sure if you can see, but some of the petals are slightly different colours. So for the petals that were kind of overlapping, I would use fine liner for, and then pencil for everything else. I used fine liner a lot for the flowers, which I'm not sure you're going to be able to see, but oh sorry, I keep shaking the camera. But I did little lines and hatchings and things to add a bit more shading. But yeah, I have that colour palette written down, and it will definitely be in a colour combinations video if you are interested. But yeah, I just think this book is absolutely beautiful. The one I have on my radar to do next, once that whip is finished eventually in years to come, is this one. I think this flower will be, again, beautiful. And I want to do sort of a similar colour palette, or at least pull some of the colours across. I might even do this flower the same as this. But yeah, that is Beautiful Planet. And I thought at first when I got this that having a really big book with Leila Duly illustrations in would be so intimidating, but I actually think just having that little bit more space has been really helpful. I also love that one. So here you can see that it's not quite as detailed. I mean, it's still very detailed, but there are more open spaces for you to colour. So it definitely is doable with pencil, which I know for a lot of people might not have felt doable in the flower year. So that's my first copy, and then I don't really need to show you this because I don't have anything in it, but that's the second copy. Then we have Walk in the Woods. This came out last year, and I've completed 2 pictures, which is quite the miracle really. I've done this one. Again, this will be in a colour combinations video. I adore how this came out. I love doing blue eggs. I've done these feathers since doing this picture. I really love that colour combination, playing with the red violets going into green and yellow. Doing the twigs and everything was quite tricky because there were a lot of small spaces and I couldn't quite work out what was a tendril and what was a twig. So that took quite some doing to try and figure that out, but again, I really do love that. More muted, but I think it works for the Walk in the Woods theme. And then I did a really bright one, which definitely isn't my favourite out of all the pages I've done in these books so far, but I do still like it. I just think it's quite out there in terms of a bright colour palette, and I'm not sure. It's quite whimsical with the flowers. They're obviously a made up colour palette, and yeah, but it was a sweet one and nice and quick as well. So yeah, I haven't done anything else in here yet. I love the mushroom pages. I want to colour those so badly. But there are some nice smaller images that are much more approachable in this book as well. So yeah, it's again a really stunning book. And I'm really looking forward to a new thing she has coming out, which is one of those concertina books. I think it's maybe 10 pages. And obviously it will fold out to be however long. And I think that's going to be really exciting. I think it's coming out in February, March. I could be wrong. The final book that I have is Floribunda. Now I got this many years ago, and originally when I got it, again, compared to the Flower Year, I was so intimidated because it was huge. And I have coloured a picture in this and coloured it for my parents. It's in a frame currently in our house. I was testing ink out on this one. I did end up kind of using this book as a tester book. I still have many pages in here that I haven't kind of ruined by starting. This one was with gouache. That might be it. So yeah, I have still many of these that I could do, and obviously they're so thick, it would be perfect as a print if you wanted to then put it up. I'm not sure if this is still available. This is a very old book. In fact, let's have a look. It's got to be on here. Yeah, 2016. Gosh. So yeah, I'm not sure if this one will still be available. You may be able to find it on eBay, but that's Floribunda. Like I said, I can't really show you the picture that I have coloured in that, but that did take a very long time, but I loved it. So moving on to my Mythographic books, I have 5 in my collection. 3 are by Fabiano Attanasio and 2 of them by Joseph Katzenbang. There are other books that I would like to get, but I just haven't coloured enough to justify buying them. I quite like the Fantasy Forest one, is that what it's called? The Fabiano one. I definitely prefer the ones that don't have hidden objects in, from what I've seen, and all of the ones that I have do have the hidden objects in. I was very kindly gifted this by Sue. I think with this one there's just, it's all of the really thin lines for me in making things really intricate, and also then there are quite a lot of random thick lines as well. And I also think, especially with Fabiana's, there are just some really random hidden objects. I think the Joseph Katzenbang ones, you don't really notice them as much, and I find them easier to hide. But this is the one that I've done. I really like the whales. I don't like the lighthouse, but I was pretty thrilled with everything else. Although looking back, it actually looks really, the background doesn't look smooth at all. I don't quite know how I managed that, but anyway, that's the page that I've done in Mythographic Paradise. Then we have Mythographic Frozen Fantasies, again by Fabiano Attanasio, and the page that I've done is this, and I'm actually still really happy with this. I love polar bears, they're my favourite animal, and I think I did an okay job of trying to make the polar bear look different from all of the icicles and the ice going on, because he's more grey and this is white and blue. And yeah, I tried to do some sort of Northern Lights effect, not a full one, but something along those lines with some neon gel pens and things in the background. But this was a massive project, it took ages. I love these flowers though at the bottom. And it was a limited colour palette, which is always handy for these books. Then we have Dream Garden, again one I think Sue very kindly sent me. This is by Fabiana as well, and the page that I did was pretty much one of my favourite pages, and one that I know was a lot of people's favourites as well. I'll be able to find it now. Did I go past it really early on? I did as well. This one. Now I do think that I could have gone darker with the background. I regretted doing the brown for the background. I think green would have worked better, because it was meant to be grass, right? Not just dirt. But I'd done so much green, I needed something different to kind of break it up a little bit. This was Holbein's, a lot of fine liners. I can see where all the hidden objects are and how I've hidden them, but you probably won't be able to. I think I've done an okay job at trying to hide them. But yeah, there was a lot going on and this took quite a while, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Mythographic Odyssey is my 4th book, and this is the only one that's untouched out of all of them. If I'm honest, I think there aren't many pages that I would really want to do in here. I'm not quite sure why I bought it. I think at the time I was so into my mythographics and building my collection, and similarly to kind of Mythomorphia by Cabrera-Zan's or Mythic World, the subject matter isn't something that I'm as interested to colour. I think there was a really lovely, was it like a Little Mermaid one? My printing's got a bit funny on that. I do like the thinner line art. I've marked some pages. Let's have a look what I marked. Yeah, I do like that turtle. That's so detailed. So detailed. And they're bigger books. Like I don't mind the square format. I just don't gravitate towards kind of doing really large spreads like this much at the moment. And if I do, like the one in Vintage My Room that I've been working on, I've been spending months on one picture. So yeah, that's Odyssey. Finally, we have Mythographic Imagine. Now, this was the first book that I got. I don't know, why have I flagged this? Can't remember. But yeah, this was the first one that I got. And I do really like a lot of the illustrations in here. I think it's really cool. And the subject matter is definitely more my sort of thing, with a lot more animals. It is thicker line art, but I don't mind that so much. It's also a really chunky book. The picture I've done in here is this one, which I'm still really pleased with. This took a long time, and I really did take my time with this. I used Holbeins, a lot of fine liners, and Posca pens as well. With this, I based a lot with fine liner to be able to figure out what things were. So all of the strings I did in brown to block them out, and then I went in with a purple fine liner and did all of the purple for the dress. And then I don't think I used fine liner for any of the leaves apart from the slightly brighter ones. But yeah, I just did it kind of colour by colour, trying to figure out what everything was. And yeah, that is one that I'm still really pleased with. And it was one of my favourite pictures in the book because of the musical theme. So yeah, they are all of my mythographic books. I move on to Melpomeni Chatzipanagiotou. I hope I'm saying that right, or it's Chatzipanagiotou. This is Circle of Life, definitely my favourite. I've coloured quite a few pages in here, but this is definitely a book I would like to get a second copy of. There's some really gorgeous pages in here. Again, I don't think I would have the capacity to get stuck into a really detailed page in here. And also I want to give love to some new books that I haven't worked in yet. So something like Stephanie Law's Secret World. I'm dying to do a detailed page in that. So yeah, we have this one, which I really loved doing at the time. This was the time during COVID where Stuart very kindly sent me the Brute Funa squares, which I still have and I really like. And I also was sent this book by her, and I used them so much. So got a little bit of shimmer things on here. I think it could definitely be brighter and more saturated. I think I could have gone deeper with some of my shadows, but it's a really lovely page. This one, which I think I used Crayola for. I think I was trying to prove to myself that I could just use Crayola and get a good result, and I definitely did, and I enjoyed it, but gosh, did it hurt my hands. I just love all these circular images though. I have this one. I actually can't remember what pencils I used for this. No, this is Brute Funas as well. Give my turtle. Again, Brute Funas. Bit of sparkle, bit of metallic, lots of colours going on there. Almost too much, but I think it just about works. This one, I adore this still to this day. Really, really love this. This was one of the first times I think that I'd done my blue tits with Holbeins and then my little robin. I love the nest. I really do love that page. Yeah, it's a gorgeous book. She's such a talented illustrator, and I think actually it's one of those rare occasions for me personally that her first book was her best one. Oftentimes, you know, the illustrators get better and better, but I still think nothing can beat Circle of Life really, so I hope that she does come back to doing a book like this again. Then we have nature mandalas. So mandalas have never really been my thing, but when Sue sent this to me, I had a go at one of the pages and I actually had a lot of fun. I was using markers, not alcohol markers, because it was still fairly detailed and I didn't want to risk going over the lines. I used water-based brush markers and I shaded with them. I didn't use any pencil, and then I used quite a lot of gel pens as well, and it was really fun and mindless. And I got a black fine liner. I was filling in all of the area in the back, which took a fair amount of time. You can see nothing bled through. Yeah, there are some really detailed pictures in here, and I wanted something that was a bit more approachable. But I do like the fact that yes, they're mandalas, but not everything repeats. And sometimes you get different animals in each fourth, like you do there. So that's nature mandalas. And then we have Enchanted Earth, and if I'm honest, similar to some of my Kirby books, I picked it up because it was a really good steal in the works. I am not planning on getting Dream Voyage. I think the paper's definitely got thinner in this, and lots of it I quite like. There are some pages that I really adore in this. I like that one. Some of it I'm not so keen on. That's just personal preference really, but I'll show you that picture that I did in a minute. But yeah, I wasn't overly loving this. So I'm glad that I didn't pay full price, and if I'm honest, it's one that I'd probably consider destashing in the future. This one I feel like is very similar to the one that I coloured. I did feel with this that there was quite a lot of repetition with other themes that we'd previously had. But you can't fault her artwork, it really is stunning. The picture that I did was just a kind of complete hot mess really. I had fun doing it, but it did not turn out well whatsoever. The paper just didn't take my Neocolours well at all. You can see how crinkled it is, and this was after trying to iron it down. So I kind of gave up at that point once the background wasn't really going my way, and I used water-based markers, fine liners. I didn't use any pencil on this. Got acrylic, some gold paints, shimmery paints, that sort of thing. And I'm gutted because it was my favourite, well, one of my favourite pages in the book because of the music notes and the music connection. But anyway, that's Enchanted Earth. And then we have Emelie Lidehall Oberg. So I have 3 books of hers. This was the first one that I got many years ago. You'll be seeing some of my oldest work in here. This must be from 2017, I think. There are still some pages I would really like to come back to in here. I've seen people do really amazing things with watercolour in here, so I do think that it would be possible. This one, gosh, I don't even remember doing that. I was testing out my Arteza acrylic gouache, sorry, I can't speak, and I really like the colour palette. It's just a bit of fun. Oh, definitely have more pages in here. I'm trying not to miss anything. Oh, these, I think I took some pages out. That's why these are falling out here. Oh no, are they all falling out? Oh, that's not good. We have this one that I started, which was my signature style at the time of using a white Prismacolor to blend everything, and it kind of really dulled down a lot of the colours. We have this one, my bunny, which I do have fond memories of doing. Oh gosh, it might be quite tricky to colour in this again if I've got pages falling out everywhere. I love that. Love that. That's my fairy tales. I don't know what happened to that actually. Then we have Sagrok Sagna. So again, this was a book that I got ages ago, maybe a year after. I'm not a huge fan of the Swedish paper. Like I mentioned in my third part of this collection, in about Botanicum, the Maria Troll book. I don't use watercolour, so it's not much of an issue, but I do think you would struggle on this paper if you were trying to use them. This was Polychromos. I could have done more trying to make this look like fur, but I like the flowers. Again, you'll be seeing some older work in this. This was a colour along that I did on my channel. This was at the very beginning of 2019. That was all with Prismacolors. That's still available to watch if you really want to go back and watch it. I was happy with the hair. This one, again, Prismacolors. I didn't really know how to tackle all of the buildings and things with all the lines and all the kind of patterns and things. This one, this was, I'd say it was maybe Castle Art pencils or Crayola. No, Faber-Castell Classics and white gel pen. This one was Prismacolor. It's a sweet one. Really enjoyed that. That was Prismacolor as well, with some Wink of Stella that overdid it completely on those stars. Random Whip. I think that was going to be a colour along as well that I just didn't end up coming back to. This one. Is that Polychromos? Yeah, I think it is. It's not ordinarily something I would do, so I was quite pleased with that. And then this was one of the ones that I was really proud of at the time. I love my tree. So that was my Santa with my Prismacolors. And that's everything in Sagrok Sagna. And then we have Fairy Tales of Folklore, which has got to be one of my favourite books in terms of how it's produced. If every book could be on this paper and of this quality, it would make me so happy. Yeah, the paper is absolutely gorgeous. Same illustrations as Sagrok Sagna, but you do get the new ones in the beginning as well. And this is now the UK version that was reprinted, and this is the one that I've done. So this is a fairly recent page. I think I did it in March. This is all Polychromos and Faber-Castell Black Edition pencils, and then some shimmer and gold and things. I hope that it's kind of nice going through these and you can see my progression a bit, because I know I am quite critical of some of my older pages, but it's just because I know the development that I've made over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you know, because I started colouring in 2014, if not earlier. I've basically always been colouring because I transitioned from colouring as a kid to colouring as an adult. So yeah, it's really nice looking at this now compared to some of the pages we've just looked at in the older book and seeing how I've improved. So I cannot wait to do more in this, and Polychromos worked beautifully, so I think I will definitely stick to using oil-based pencils in this book. Just give me one moment, I'm going to grab the other stack of books. Okay, so in the first part I shared my Millie Marotta and Joanna Bassford books, and I mentioned that I had a few miniatures that I didn't share, but I'm going to share them with you now. So we have Millie Marotta's Animal Kingdom, the pocket colouring book. I got this for about £3, and I think I will de-stash this eventually. I was really unimpressed with the binding when I coloured this picture, and I'm not overly thrilled with the way I coloured this anyway, and it bled through hideously, and yeah, unfortunately the quality for me did not live up to expectation. I don't really know what I was expecting, but it was only meant to be £5 anyway, but it was a bit cheaper on Amazon. I guess I could still keep it for mindless colouring and things, but I really have to think about space when I eventually do move out, and what I actually want to take with me and what I realistically think I will be colouring in. So yeah, that's that. And then we have my miniature Secret Garden and Enchanted Forest. I got this as a present for my aunt, uncle and cousins. The quality of these is just a total step up from the Millie Marotta ones, and it's as if you are just, it's literally like you've got a miniature version of the original book. I did colour 2 in here. I wasn't overly thrilled with either of them. Quite like that one. I don't mind the nameplate. It's the other one that I've done. This one. I think I would just end up taking that one out, to be honest. But yeah, there are some pages in here which I think would be really good just for fine liners and doing mindless colouring in, to be honest. It's on nicer paper, much nicer paper than the original. And what I do like is that quite a lot of these are kind of single-sided, in the sense that you just have one small image which opposes and kind of matches the image. So the watering can's been taken from that and been added here. So you could treat it as almost as a single-sided book for some of the pages. So I think I definitely will keep this. I'm just not very satisfied with the pages that I have done so far. And then Miniature Enchanted Forest. I bought this with the intention of completing the whole thing, and again, didn't get very far. I do kind of think if I'm going to colour in this, I might as well just colour in the copy that I have. This is with Faber-Castell Classics, and I quite like how it turned out. I think this was during COVID. And then we have my squirrel, which again was with Classics. That's everything that I've done in here. I think it would be really nice to cut things out and make cards. I really like I said, the small motifs where Joanna's taken small bits of the pages and added them on the opposing sides. I think that works really well. Again, the quality is really lovely with the flaps. So I don't think this is something that she's continued for her other books. I think it's a really good idea though, especially if you're on holiday or you want to get a copy for your kids. So they are the miniatures that I have, and I didn't share in the first part. Then I have 2 books by Marja Safstrom, which aren't colouring books, but I made them colouring books. So this was one that I was dying to get for ages, and then I saw it in America. So this was 6 years ago now, and I coloured in this a lot. Now, because they're not made to be colouring books, a lot of the illustrations have just lots of black area, and you can't really colour over it unless you were using opaque pencils, like Prismacolor. So a lot of the work's done for you already, and you can only really add a little bit of colour. And kind of like Fantastic Zoo, I was wanting to colour them fairly realistically, so I found that there was just a lot of browns and greys being used. But the lovely thing about this is that you get loads of facts about the animals that you're colouring in. And I do have the postcards somewhere. I'm not sure if they will be shown in this. Oh, I thought I'd coloured in this loads. Anyway, I did the polar bears. Quite liked how that turned out. Maybe not. But it's a really sweet book and a lot of fun. And then we have the baby animals, which I haven't coloured in yet. This one I think is really sweet. And again, it's got all the facts in it. This got really bent. Well, not bent, but I think the ribbon that was acting as a bookmark got really bent. I'm not quite sure what happened. But yeah, this is sweet. And I do kind of think to myself, well, will this just end up being a coffee table book or a book that I give to my kids? Probably. I don't really see myself colouring in it that much now. But yeah, that's really cute. Baby animals. Then we have my Lulu Mayo books. Now I have 3. I did have a million sloths. I destashed it, I put it up in the loft, and then I brought it down again because I was potentially going to use it for part of a giveaway at some point, or just give it to a family member, and then I accidentally spilled Pimm's all over it. So that is sadly going to have to go into the bin, and that was an untouched book, so that's a bit annoying. This is A Million Unicorns. There are a few Lulu Mayo books that I would really like to get. I'd like to get Emelie and Magical Creatures. That's the one on the top of my list at the moment. The unicorns one, I think I prefer the ones where it's not just limited to one animal. So the other ones that I have are cute animals and baby animals, and I definitely prefer those ones because there's a real wide variety. I started to get bored of colouring the unicorns the same way on each page, which I know I didn't have to do, but that's what I wanted to do to keep it cohesive. These were my polar bears. So this was for polar bears in November when it was my birthday, because polar bears are my favourite animal. Definitely got another one in here. Yeah, this one. I'm imagining they're kind of on a carousel or something. I was not really pleased with that one at all. So I don't really see myself colouring in this much. It might be one that I destash in the future. I will obviously, when I destash books, I will take out the pages that I've coloured and put them in a folder. But where's my page that I just did? Yeah, because I want to keep them for memories. But yeah, I don't really see myself colouring in this. I also think I prefer the slightly more detailed pages. So we have A Million Cute Animals, which I basically started using as a mindless colouring book, just with markers, not alcohol markers, just water-based markers. So I use mild liners when I'm highlighting and doing things for uni work or A-levels or whatever, and I had got a big pack, and these were the colours that I had left that hadn't run out from that year. And I just decided to colour this really quickly, and I actually think that having 5 colours really was a lot of fun. Just kind of picking what elements were going to be what, and that was it. No shading, just, yeah, it was very sweet. And this one, again, this is water-based markers with lots of shiny goodness in the background as well, and on the stars. So I think this does have a place in my collection as a mindless book. So I think this will be one that I keep. And there are some really cute pages in here, really cute. And then we have A Million Baby Animals, and I haven't coloured in this yet. I'm still umming and ahhing about what I'm going to use this book for, whether I want to try and do more serious colouring in it, or just have fun. I'm not quite sure. It was about £5 on Amazon when I bought it, so yeah, we'll see. I've got my eye on this one. But yeah, she's done a really good job of adding the fur in, so it would seem a little bit easier to try and do the fur. But I just think the nature of the illustrations is making me lean towards not doing everything so seriously and just having a bit of fun. So yeah, we'll see. That's what I'm leaning towards. Maybe just doing fine liner and marker work. Although I love these pages. I adore them. I really do. They look so cute in a kid's room, wouldn't they? Adorable. Yeah, it's such a cute book. This is one of my favourites, and A Million Magical Creatures, like I said, is the other one that I'd like to get. So then I have my 2 Karolina Kupakowska books. The first one I want to share is my Memories Postcards colouring book. Now I have completed one, and I'll show you that first before I get the postcards out. The paper's definitely a lot thinner. I wouldn't really call it postcard. It's fairly thick, but sending this in the post, you wouldn't possibly be able to. I mean, they're not really meant to be postcards because there's nothing on the back, but you could definitely send them. This is with Black Widows, and there's some shiny stuff on the top. So these were republished into one book, essentially, with glue binding. Karolina used to sell these all individually, and I really loved how they came in their individual packs, but I couldn't justify the price for 20 postcards, and also I didn't love every single one. Whereas when she reprinted these as one big thing, it was only about £5 more to get all 5 packs together, and it means that because it's all glue bound, I can just tear out the ones that I'm not as much of a fan of if I want to. So this combines the Easter, spring, summer, autumn, winter all together, and I really do need to get back to this and do some more pictures. I still don't think I would be brave enough to try using watercolour. I don't think that it would work for me. It might do. I probably could, but I don't want to risk it. But yeah, it basically, the front flap comes away, and I have had to put tape over the binding because annoyingly the spine has completely broken and things will start falling out if I'm not careful. So that is my memories postcards. And then the other book that I have is oh, forgive me, I can't remember what the translation is, but it's this book which I think you can buy in an English edition now. And I bought this from Susie, and I don't think she'd coloured in it. I've got it signed by Karolina. Yeah, I don't think she'd coloured in it. You do get a lot of pages that are kind of half coloured by Karolina with some of the colour on them, which I think is really cool. So I did this one with Kohinoor Polycolours when I got the 24 set, which I also bought from Susie. And then, oh, the other one. These roses with polychromos and pastel. So I did a pastel base for everything and then just went over with pencil. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what I was expecting with this book. I thought it would be textured because the paper looks as if it's textured, but it's actually not. I think it's just been scanned in because she's maybe drawn them on watercolour paper or something like that. It's a very cool book. To me, it's more of an art book rather than a full-on colouring book. And there are definitely some pages that I would not colour. Some of them are very, very dark. But yeah, that's that. And then I have my 2 books by Maggie and Terrius. And I was very generously sent both of these for review. So Flowerscape, we have quite a few finished pages. Yeah, for the review I coloured the daffodil page, and along with that I did the daffodil and then the trumpet flower on either side. That was with polychromos and Holbeins. And then I did this one. Not as pleased with this one. Maggie's got a beautiful style, and I definitely think if you want something that's not quite as realistic as, say, Leila Duly, you want something a bit more whimsical and, I don't know, the lines are slightly different. Don't really know how to explain it. It just gives a slightly more cartoon, not cartoon, but the lines are a little bit thicker, you know, they're not as crisp and thin as Leila Duly. So if you want that detail, but with it not feeling quite so overwhelming, this would definitely be a great book. And obviously you get the pages with just single flowers as well. So that's the first book. Then we have Flowerscape and Paradise, and I completely screwed up the page that I did in here. It was all going so well. The background I originally did with purple gouache, and the aim was to try and blend it out into the background, and the paper just did not take it well at all. At the time, well, I still do only have 2 acrylic paints, and I used the blue to try and cover it up. And whilst I think it worked okay, it's a complete mess. I even don't like how I coloured the passion fruits. I'm not quite sure about that, unfortunately. Also with this book, you can scan for the colour referencing if you want to try and colour realistically. So I also think that that's a really nifty thing that she's added. And I think there are quite a lot more scenes in this book as well. I know that's a popular one. And these are a bit smaller as well, these books. So that's Flowerscape and Paradise. So we're coming on to the last few books now for this video. We have my Paula Brune books. So we have Animaux de Bois. And these are the lovely books published by Marabout. So the French editions, well, they haven't been released in other editions, but the French books with this paper are absolutely stunning. I've done 2 pages in this. I did this one, which was recent. I finished this at the beginning of this year. I started it before I went back to uni, didn't get any of it done, and then came back to it after the autumn period. So this was all Holbein. And then what I like to do in these books is add washi tape for certain elements on the pages. So all the mushrooms have washi tape. And then the other page that I did was years ago, and I'm actually still really pleased with it. This one was Faber-Castell Classics and a lot of washi tape on all of the flowers and the mushrooms. And I didn't come back to this book for a while, and then I decided to feel really inspired to go back and work in it when I did the autumnal page. But this is just beautiful. I know some people are a bit iffy about the branches and things growing out of animals. I don't mind that. I think it's quite unusual and inventive, and I think it doesn't detract from the pages. But oh my gosh, it's just absolutely beautiful. I love this tortoise at the beginning. I don't have the tropical one. Like I've said before, the Amazon one, I'm not as drawn to that subject matter as other things. I do still absolutely love her illustrations, so it might be one that I still end up getting at some point. We have Fawn Fragile, so this is the newer one. It's definitely thinner than the other one, but still beautiful illustrations. I haven't coloured in this yet because I got it quite recently, but I think it's just as beautiful, if not potentially a little bit more. I've got my eye on some pages, so this one I really love. I'd like to get to this over the summer if I can, but it's not looking likely because I'm not going to be able to take any big books with me like this away. I'd be better off taking a rectangular book. I love that one as well because I just don't think that these will travel very well. I love the turtle. So yeah, that's Fawn Fragile, untouched book, which I really want to get to. And then the final books I have to share with you are major throwbacks to my colouring years ago. These used to be in National Trust shops, and these are the colouring cards and envelopes by Rebecca Jones. So I had a first copy of this, and I think I ended up ditching it because I was no longer colouring them, and I coloured so many, and then I got this second copy. I had a summer one, which I also don't think I have anymore, because I just ripped so many out. It wasn't even really a book anymore. So I have this one, which I did with, I was testing myself, seeing if I could colour something with a 12 pack of really cheap pencils, which I did manage to do. That was really fun. Started this one with watercolour. So you can see, oh sorry, you can rip them out, colour the card, and then there's a corresponding envelope to match at the back. So you fold it up, and then at the back you get the stickers to stick them together with, which is, it's such a fun idea. I used to love these when I was younger, and my mum would sometimes get them for me for a holiday, and I would work on some of them. So that's the nature one. And then I also have the Christmas one, which is lovely. Again, I've coloured quite a few of these. These ones, they're really easy to cut out. You just snip there, and then it's perforated, and you just cut along the edge, because you can kind of see they all come apart. I think her artwork is beautiful. Started those penguins. And I started that one with acrylic paint markers. So yeah, that is everything. I love these stickers as well. Even if I wasn't using them for these, I would want to use them anyway on different projects and things like that. So yeah, absolutely beautiful. So they are all of the books that I have to share with you for this video, and this is the 5th of the 6-part series. So yeah, I really hope you've been enjoying this so far, and yeah, we have one more part to go. I can't believe how long it's taken, but like I said, I wanted to actually talk through all of my finished pages and the books and not just show them. So yes, it's been a long, basically 6-hour series, but I wanted to fully feel like I was giving my thoughts on the books. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Everything will be down below in the description as usual, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care everyone. Bye.